Let me paint you a picture. You have a car that needs repair and you can't afford it. Your body hurts, probably from the bad posture that would make your chiropractor weep. Your mental health has you feeling like you are on your side and you don't know which way is up. And in the middle of all of this, you need to appear fresh and perky for a YouTube video. Nobody talks about the real life things that derail your business with total validity. We're going down that rabbit hole today. Hello, my beautiful entrepreneurs. My name is Tabitha, and welcome to A Hot Mess Builds an Empire. I help day one entrepreneurs take that first terrifying leap into business ownership without completely losing their minds in the process. This channel is for the people who are standing on the edge of something really scary, but also equally just as marvelous, wondering if they are absolutely unhinged for even considering the jump. Before we get started in today's episode, I just want to let you know that the mess hall meets once a month. I believe for June, it is the 27th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's just $5 to join. It's for day one entrepreneurs to connect and commiserate and celebrate each other. I host workshops. I'm going to have guest speakers later in the year. So, keep your eyes peeled for who that's going to be. But it would just be really great to see you there and to learn about your business. I'm nosy. I want to know what's going on in the world. So please join, and you can find the link to that in my YouTube description. It takes you to my stand store. It's called The Mess Hall. And it's been really fun the last couple months since I started doing it. I've been meeting some really cool people on the side, and we would love to have you join us. So today we are talking about the non-business stuff that impacts your business, right? And I don't think we talk about this enough. I really don't, in the sense of like when non-business things in life happen and it completely derails your progress. And I'm going to be sharing some stuff about my life today. So if you wanted to learn more about me, today's your day. And, I think this is stuff that goes beyond a content calendar or a launch timeline, right? Like life doesn't care about that shit. It's just going to look at it and laugh and just toss it aside, rip it into shreds, throw it in confetti over you. Things happen. Things happen all the time, every single day. And sometimes it's very difficult to navigate when you're trying to build a business, when you're trying to go to school or have a family or work full time or whatever your situation is. And I want to go through some things that I think would be helpful in these situations. I'm not saying it's going to fix anything, right? Like I can't just wave my magic wand and make life better for everybody, as much as I would love that. But we can talk about how we can get through it, right? And that's what we're going to be doing today, along with talking about my life, so you can kind of get an idea of what it is that I go through on the daily. And maybe it'll help you feel better. That not every entrepreneur is sitting on a beach with their laptop in some beautiful aesthetic, right? Some of us are still out here trying to make it work. So for my first section of the day, I do have a list, so bear with me. You guys know that I like looking at the camera as if I'm looking at you, having a conversation with you. But I do have a list here that I'm going to go through a couple things, and I'm going to reference it because I don't want to miss anything. But I think the first thing that's really important when it comes to non-business things happening in life that impact your business, one of the greatest things you could do for yourself is name it. I think, I tried so long to ignore my personal life and my entrepreneurial life because I was just like, no, these are two completely separate things. They're not affiliated with each other. And while you want that to be true, it's not true. So it's really important to name the thing that's negatively impacting you, or just so positively impacting you, you just like don't have attention for your business, right? Like that could go either way, I'm sure. But so what do I have on my list here? Okay, so personal life stuff. Just this is kind of miscellaneous, but it's more about relationships It could be you're grieving over something, you just broke up with someone, you're getting a divorce, maybe you're getting married, and taking that in the positive aspect, right? Where it's like it's completely consuming your life and you don't have time for your business. You're going through like a friendship breakup, those can be really tough. And, you might have things going on with your family, like your immediate family, like with your kids or whatever. And it's it really boils down to like what closeness you have to these people and how they impact your daily life that would derail what it is that you have going on with your business. The next thing I have here is mental health and emotional well-being. If you are neurodivergent, if you have bipolar, if you have depression, if you have anxiety, that can make it really difficult to show up. It really can. And someone who is neurodivergent, I am bipolar, I have ADHD, I have depression. It gets hard to show up sometimes, and not because something is difficult or because I'm nervous or I don't have confidence or anything like that. It's because it's really hard to convince myself to get out of bed. And there you are, right? So sometimes it doesn't matter how good things are going. Sometimes depression really knows how to sink its teeth in and just make you miserable. It really does a good job of that. The next thing I have here is financial stress outside of the business. So I'm going to be talking more about this shortly, but like unexpected expenses, your job might not be paying you enough, like a random bill that just suddenly came your way. Listen, this can be very tough. And I find that when I've talked to other entrepreneurs, and this goes for myself too, the level of commitment that you can provide somehow really, really weighs heavy on the financial aspect because, you're trying to live through this horrible economy at this time. You're trying to make things happen. You're paying extra, investing extra in your business to make it work. And, suddenly your car breaks down and you can't afford that. And then you have to do my business or my car so I can get to my job, so I can take care of my family. It really stresses people out, especially in the beginning stages when you are not making any money, but you're pouring money into your business and pouring money into yourself and investing in yourself and having faith and the confidence, and you see the vision and you know that it's there. But then you just suddenly can't afford one thing or another, and your business has to take a back seat for that reason. I find that finances are truly like a huge, huge, huge proponent of why other entrepreneurs aren't like further along as quickly as they want to be. It's because of the financial aspect. Physical circumstances. So having a job that's incredibly demanding. I work in a warehouse. I'm a manager in a warehouse, right? Like it's very physically demanding. You could have really long commutes. You could have health appointments that are non-negotiable and take up real hours in the week. And your body could be going through something significant. And, we don't schedule the significant things happening to our body, right? So it's tough when that happens and you have to recuperate. And, all of this is happening to a lot of entrepreneurs right now, and just people don't talk about it. It's not occasionally, it's regularly, and it's all simultaneously. And we see these highlight reels of entrepreneurs being successful. We see these highlight reels of like a time lapse of them working for the day, but you don't know what they're mentally thinking at that time. Like, and I'm not just talking about confidence in front of the camera, right? It could just be like, I can't wait for this time lapse to be over so I can take a nap because I haven't slept in 3 days so that I could get this project done and meet this deadline for my business. Or I haven't slept in 3 days because I'm taking care of my sick children and also working, and also my husband's out of town on business. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where you just don't know what people are going through. And it's rough when we just don't share that back end side of being an entrepreneur. Okay, so this is the part of the episode I've written here. I'm just going to spew about my life. And I want to preface this by saying I'm not doing this to get sympathy. I'm not trying to throw a pity party. I'm not trying to seem desperate for things. I just want to showcase what it is that I'm going through because I think it'll probably be relatable and help you feel a little bit better that there are other things that people are going through and also still trying very hard to navigate this non-business related terrain to still show up for their business. So, first and foremost, I work full-time as a manager, night shift in a warehouse. There are times where, my shifts are pretty long and I get so tired driving home, I have to pull over and sleep in the car. I am still 6 months into recovering after a car accident and subsequent surgeries because of that car accident. It is still very much present in my body on a daily basis, the sort of after effects of this car accident. So, I'm constantly seeing doctors for my concussion that is still ongoing. For the post-concussive syndrome that I have, I've now been diagnosed with chronic traumatic migraine syndrome. So I have daily migraines and, there's a variety of other things that are going on, but it's really difficult when like my head is killing me, my ADHD is acting up. It's very depressing when I can't concentrate. It's very depressing when I feel so sick. And it's really cumbersome to just kind of be trying to balance all of that just because of the car accident. I'm also neurodivergent, which I believe I said before. I am bipolar, I have manic depression, and I also have ADHD and anxiety. I do try very hard to work with my ADHD brain. There are things that I do differently. There are things that I have to do in certain orders to kind of like get myself into the groove and stuff like that. So I am working with my brain as best as possible, but that doesn't always mean that it's on point. You know what I mean? Like I have to be in a flow. I have to get into it. It has to be quiet, and which sucks because this light over here has been humming for days and weeks now, and you can't hear it because I have a isolation on my microphone. But it's driving me batty, and I need new lights because this one back here burnt out. So I need to get rid of them and recycle them, and I need to get new lights. So that's just like a minor inconvenience at this point in time. But it's annoying because there's like this noise and my ADHD can't handle the noise. My body is going through a very significant transformation right now. I've lost 110 pounds. I've kind of been maintaining this weight now, but I need to go to doctor appointments to like the chiropractor and stuff because the thing is like I was going to the chiropractor religiously before I lost all the weight, and I was adjusted and everything based on that weight and that body. And now I need to be adjusted again because I've lost so much weight. Like I can tell that my knees are off because my knees hurt a little bit more, which I was told would be a thing and you would need to see a chiropractor when you lost a lot of weight. So, there's just sort of like this physical aspect of it where I'm just kind of like always in pain. My back is killing me right now. And then there's just sort of also this weird emotional toll that comes with all the weight loss. Like, it's really messing with my, what is it? Phrasing? Damn, I can't think of it right now. But it's really messing with like how I see myself. Dysmorphia. I'm having dysmorphia. That's it. I still see myself as very heavy. And, there's times I will go and I will grab shirts or pants or something like that. And I did have to get rid of a lot of clothes because they were just way too big. But initially I was grabbing shirts and pants that were way too big and I'd put them on thinking that was going to fit. And I would be drowning in the clothes. And now I'm at this point where I'm trying to find clothes that fit, but I'm just like, I don't know what size I am. I don't know what's going to look okay. And it's really irritating because like I look at myself and I just see this balloon of a person. And then somebody will send me a picture and I'm like, oh, I don't look like how I think I look like, So I'm still working through some of that dysmorphia. What else do I have in here? Yes. the latest and greatest. The drivetrain on our only car went the other day, and that is going to be $8,500 worth of repairs, which our car is not worth that much, right? It is a beat up car. And we've had it for 10 years, and it's technically a 2013. So we lost my car in the car accident because that was completely totaled. And now we have just my husband's car, which has just kicked the bucket. So this Saturday, we are picking up a new to us car. And it's really annoying because we haven't had a car payment for years because we've owned our cars. And now we're going to have a car payment again. And that's just an added expense that I have to consider in my entrepreneurial journey into the goal that I had to be doing this full time by 2027. It's just an added expense that I need to think about when it comes to having a full-time job. So I think I said something about this on another video recently. I'm not sure. But the last 2 weeks, I have been waiting on a pathology report. I had procedure done about 2 weeks ago where they removed like this growth that I've had. And at like 2:00 this morning, the results came in that it is not cancer. And which is amazing, right? And I feel very relieved about that. But because there was a chance that it could be, I have not been sleeping right. I have not been like dealing with things correctly. So like all in the back of my head, it's just been like, well, what does that matter if I have cancer? Like you just, your mind goes into places. And it really impacted my consistency showing up because I would just sit down and I'd be like, what's the point? I might have cancer. But I'm very happy to say that I do not. It was just a really crazy growth. And, but it's just another thing that I was going through, just like this medical thing going through, that I was going through. And, there are times where I sit here and I just like completely judge myself too. Like I should be further along. I should be more successful. I should be more relatable. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done this. I should have done this instead, and there's lots of self-doubt. There's lots of fear. There's lots of loss of confidence. And that mentality weighs on me too, and it's not just business related stuff, right? Like it's also like, what am I doing with my life? And, that's just sort of this on the brink of an existential crisis sort of thing. And, I very much want to create full time and I am doing my best to work on that. But when you have all these things compounding on each other, it's difficult to show up. Now, like I said before, I'm not saying all this stuff to have a pity party because there are things in my life that are very, very good. But it just goes to show like there are things happening that impact decisions, that impact choices you have to make to keep your life afloat and also try to build your business, right? And there is this terrain that I am navigating that is not business related, but it is impacting my business. And there are some days where the terrain wins. There really are. And there are days where I just can't get out of bed. My voice kind of cracked on that, but it's true. And I hope that this is helpful because I don't want you to see this as personal failure. If you're going through something similar, because there are also times where your body is talking to you, telling you just need to rest. And I don't see it that way. I just see it as if I'm not up and I'm not being productive, then I'm failing. And that's something that I'm working on. But, it sucks. It sucks when there's so much going on that you can't focus on your business. And I don't understand why more entrepreneurs don't talk about this. I think we have a highlight reel problem, and I think it's doing a disservice to brand new entrepreneurs in the entrepreneurial space is showing like just how great everything is. Showing just that everything has an aesthetic. Listen, look at this background. Look at this mess. This is not an aesthetic. This is research and reading and me trying to write a book and also me trying to do research for World Her Story, my trademark brand, and also me trying to read for fun. There are also notebooks in here that I'm just writing, whether it's my book or writing reels or, organizing carousels, whatever, blog posts. It's a mess. Look at it's a mess over here. Here's my my tripod I use for my phone when I do my reels and stuff like that. And just like random garbage, right? Like of boxes that need to get thrown up from equipment that I've had for a while. My lights need to be recycled because they're just not working. Like this is me as an entrepreneur. There's like no good aesthetic here. And I just hope you take something away from that. Like I'm still showing up, I'm still being here, and I'm still having a wonderful time, and I'm not sitting on a beach somewhere. Telling you how you can make your next $1 million next month if you would just show up more. Like that, I just think there are certain entrepreneurs that I think it's wonderful that they're successful. I think it's wonderful that they have a lot going on for them, but I think they've lost touch with the ground floor. And that's why I wanted to make these videos about the ground floor and the messy middle, because I just don't think there is enough attention on it. And I think it sets up this very damaging, toxic relationship where you think that entrepreneurship looks really cool and it looks really good and it looks really effortless. And it requires so much effort, especially in the beginning, because you want to get that foundation right. You want to get that ground floor correct. You want to get systems and processes in place that make everything easier as things go on. And, you know, it just sucks when I see that online and people are like, oh yeah, like I bought your book and I joined your course and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but I'm still not making any money and I don't understand what's going on. And it's like, well, you just have to show up more. You have to really want it. Of course they really want it. They're investing in themselves. And, it's just really difficult to see that sometimes. And I had to unfollow a lot of like entrepreneurial gurus, for lack of a better term, because it just annoys me, right? Like to see that we're so out of touch with the people we're selling to that we're not providing helpful information and we're not actually helping them when they're in need. And, I just think it's really important to share what it is that we're going through, share the behind the scenes, and share it very loudly and proudly and without apology that this is what I have going on in my life. And, that these are the things that entrepreneurs think about. These are the things that entrepreneurs worry about. These are the things that entrepreneurs are impacted by. And, I just think it's very helpful to talk about it. I mean, it's always very healthy to talk about anything and get it off your chest, but I just think it's very helpful to other people to showcase what it is that I'm going through, for them to be like, oh, but she's still kind of showing up though. And maybe that would help inspire a little more strength in someone. And if that inspired strength in one person, bless. That would be amazing. Now, for those of you who've watched my videos for a while, you know that I try to provide tangible takeaways and not just bitch about something. So I want to talk about a couple things that I have here that I think would be helpful if you feel that your progress is getting derailed. The first and foremost, you got to name it. You got to put a name to it. You got to figure out where the problem is coming from. Whether it's, hey, I'm stressed about my finances. Hey, I'm actually very depressed today. I should probably consider seeing a therapist or getting medicated, or whatever it is that you feel you need to do for your mental health. Call a friend, whatever, touch grass, drink lots of water. Everybody's different. But you need to name it, because when you name it, it gives it a little less power. You see where it's coming from. You see how you can address it and how you can do better by yourself. And you don't ignore it. You don't bury it. It doesn't exist and grow and fester and stew somewhere else before it becomes like this big, ugly monster that attacks you, right? Especially when you're not anticipating it. And I just think it's really important to name what it is that you have going on. The next thing I have here, I have a list. I apologize that I'm not looking at the camera. Oh, adjust the expectation for that season. Listen, we all have like normal routines, normal work weeks with our business. Like, each month I do this on the first Monday, and every week I do this on Tuesday. And like, we all have those things, but do not hold yourself accountable to this when you have things going on, such as a relationship is ending and you just kind of need a little more time. Um, it could be something as serious as someone has passed away and you just need some time to grieve. That is okay. Give yourself time to grieve. Do not make it seem like you have to work a regular week. If you're working with clients, let them know, like, be honest, be transparent. You would be very surprised to see how often people are very, very, very understanding about what it is that you're going through. And I'll give you an example. When I found out that my father had died from suicide in 2020, I was on a trip for a client. I was in Virginia Beach. I was getting pictures for them. And I knew I had to come home right away when I found out. And I called my client and I let them know, hey, this is what happened this morning and I got to go home. And they gave me an extension and they were like, listen, normally we want things 2 months ahead of time so we can just do editorial stuff, but we'll give you the week before. And I couldn't have been more grateful for that because I got to keep the job. They extended my deadline by a lot and that gave me time to come home and deal with things with my family and then go back down. So, it was just one of those things that I was very grateful for. So you'd be surprised, like I said, how your clients handle transparency. Find your people, support systems. This is just so crucial. Support systems are so crucial. They truly are. I have found my people through masterminds, through Facebook groups, through entrepreneurial communities that are like private that people host. Not all the communities are equal, right? Not all the communities are amazing, but the people who join them can be fantastic. So I can't recommend enough showing up for conventions or whatever, like wherever you can network, try and network. And you'd be very surprised how you can just sort of form a group of people to help hold you accountable, to help cheer you on, to help be there for you when things are really low. I was feeling very weird yesterday and I messaged the group of ladies that I had a mastermind with in Thailand back in November. And I was just like, I'm just feeling off today. It's one of those days where like, am I doing enough? Am I relatable enough? Am I a good storyteller? Am I actually helping people? Am I doing anything wrong? Like, am I showing up? And, I'm really like working hard to push the envelope and the needle and whatever needs to get pushed every single day for my business. And people were responding immediately. And that is the type of support system that you need, is that like the second you drop a message like that, people are sending you voice messages, sending you text messages. And, within 5 minutes, I had a series of voice messages from these ladies. And I'm just so grateful that I am part of this little group that we've created, because it's just so needed as an entrepreneur to have someone in your corner who gets it. Here's one that might be a little controversial. I'm not sure. But I think it's really important to still keep your foot in the door with your business. If you need to take a step back because something bad happened, your health is in disrepair and you just kind of like need to get your shit together, right? Like whatever you have going on. If you want to keep your foot in the door with your business so you still see growth and movement, even if it's very small, even if it's very slow, pick one non-negotiable. And that could be something like your weekly newsletter. Like you're never going to miss the weekly newsletter. It could be something like at least every Sunday, I'm going to go live on Instagram. Whatever it is that you need to identify as a non-negotiable, do it. But, I think that's really helpful too when it gives you a goal to strive for each week or each month, where you're just kind of like, okay, I didn't get anything done, but I'm still posting to my blog. And I think it's very important to have one non-negotiable. So this way you just feel less detached from your business. You still feel like you're doing something, you're still part of something. And, protecting that one non-negotiable at all costs. Like no matter what, I'm getting this non-negotiable done. And when you see that drive coming from you for that non-negotiable, it's very interesting to see how it starts marrying up with other tasks that you can complete. for your business. And then the last thing I have here is give yourself the day. Listen, sometimes you just need a break. We push ourselves and push ourselves and push ourselves, and there is this toxic investment in hustle culture, and there's a difference between hustling for what it is that you want and just like hustling to the point where your fingers are bleeding. And if you wake up and you're like, I've done all these things all week, right? Batched all this content, scheduled all this stuff, wrote a blog post, did my newsletter, engaged with people, XYZ thing, and I am exhausted today and I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with any type of quality. Give yourself the day. Take the day off, man. I just think it's really important that if you wake up on Tuesday and everything just feels like shit and you are drowning and you can't possibly do anything, your business is still going to be there on Wednesday. And that's really important to know, because sometimes you just need to take the day. And before I wrap this up, the last thing I want you to know is that your entrepreneurial journey, right, is so entangled with your personal life. These things are not separate, right? Like they are part of the journey and they are part of what it is that you navigate, and it builds such resilience to easily overcome things in the future that, it just helps with that strength. And the other thing I want you to know is that no matter what happens, you are not behind. There is no timeline. There is no something that, well, I should be done with this by the time I'm 33. Nope. Don't do that to yourself. I know plenty of entrepreneurs who are just entering the space this year and they're in their 50s. They're going to be 60, right? Like there are these amazing, amazing people out there who are starting their entrepreneurial journey now after they've already had a career and a family. And now they're just like, well, you know what? Now it's time for me. And it's like they're retired, but now they're picking up this whole new entrepreneurial outlook and career. And I think it's just fantastic. But it goes to show you your age doesn't matter. You're not behind. You don't have to be doing things by a certain time. Every entrepreneur is different. Every entrepreneurial journey is different. And you are building all of this alongside your real life, right? So your real life is going to impact this, whether for good or bad. And it's just very important to know that you're not behind no matter what's happening. You're just on your own timeline, and that is okay. So to wrap this up, just a reminder, the mess hall happens once a month. It's only $5, and it's really been a cool challenge for me to host live events once a month. I hope to see you there. You can find the link to that in the YouTube description that leads to my stand store. It's called The Mess Hall. It's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for June 27th, I think, whatever that last weekend is. It's in June because the May one just happened this past weekend. But take care of yourself. Just know that you are not the only entrepreneur who is going through it right now. And I really hope this video made you feel better in the sense of, there's so much not put in highlight reels that it's very helpful to see that other people we're all trudging through, right? So thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and please subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and I will see you next time.